Okay, so to wrap up this year's Icast coverage, I'm going to just do something a little bit different than I usually do, and I'm going to condense it down into two separate videos, one for the rods and one for the reels. And in this video, of course, is going to be the reels. So let's go over to Tackle Warehouse because they always conveniently put all the new Icast releases on one page. And here we go right here. And they also conveniently just put everything in, I guess, separate sections. So we're going to go to first the spinning reels. Is the release of the new Shimano STRADIC FM. And if you take a look at this reel, honestly, it doesn't look that much different than the model it's replacing. I can't tell if it's white or if it's silver. Looks more white. Let's see if they have the old one still listed. Yeah, the FL is on closeout. And this looks more silver. But they look very, very similar, other than maybe the little slots that are drilled into the spool are different on the new one. So yeah, this reel is pretty much going to get all the higher end technology trickling down from the top line STELLA. Things like Infinity Drive, Infinity Cross, the long stroke spool, Silent Drive, the Micro Module 2, and of course this particular STRADIC does have an aluminum body. And I think they're going to keep the STRADIC and the Vanford lineup separate from now on, as the Vanford of course replaced the popular STRADIC CI4 Plus. But it looks like the starting prices are going to be the same, which is good, starting out at $199.99, which is always a plus because prices are going up and up on reels these days. Yeah, you can see the old reels start out at $199 as well. But if you're looking for the old reel, looks like they're going out and close out. The discounts aren't too much, but in my opinion, the old reel looks better, but the new reel is probably going to be a much better performer. Alright, so let's get to the Baitcasters. And we're going to start off with Abu Garcia because it looks like they've come out with two finesse Baitcasters, which is a big shock. And the first one is going to be the REVO SX SS. So basically they took the current REVO SX and they slapped a shallow spool in the frame. And hopefully you guys can see that. Looks to be pretty shallow. Now I don't see any kind of holes drilled into it. And the question with, shallow finesse spools is always going to be, how light is it? And they don't give any kind of information on spool weight, not surprisingly. But one thing I can say is that there's a positive in Abu Garcia keeping the IVCB6 brake system, because centrifugal brakes allow reels with heavier spools to perform just as good as reels that have lighter spools but are running magnetic brakes. So that's going to be a plus for this REVO SX SS. Now it doesn't say bait finesse anywhere in the description, but they say that it's supposed to be a premier skipping, pitching, and flipping reel. So maybe this is more like the LEWS skipping reel, the Pro SP. Now you can see it's going to come in just an 8.1 to 1 gear ratio, and looks like the line capacity, they're saying it's going to hold 55 yards of 12-pound test. Now the current bait finesse reels of today, they're only holding like 50 yards of 8-pound test. So even though the spool looks pretty shallow, looks like it's going to hold more than the current crop of BFS reels. And it looks like they should be in stock around October the 10th. Alright, so let's get to the next Abu Garcia BFS reel. This is a BFS reel. And if you thought that the Shimano ALDEBARAN coming to America and being sold for like $460 was a lot of money, check this reel out. Abu Garcia is bringing over the Xenon LTX BFS, but they're calling it the MG LTX BFS. And let's blow this picture up. Now it looks exactly the same as the REVO LTX that I bought a few months ago. Actually, I think I bought it about a year ago. I've done a few videos on it, but the only difference is that in the front they're anodizing, I guess, the nose piece orange, but everything else looks the same. And they did call it the MG LTX BFS. So I can't remember if the JDM LTX has a magnesium frame, but that's usually what MG stands for. But you can see the spool, very shallow, very ported, but once again they don't give us a spool weight, and these reels are not listed on Abu Garcia's website. Now look at the price, $550. These dudes are insane. Now the reason I say that is because if they are keeping the exact same spool that you get in the Japanese version of the Xenon LTX, this spool is going to be like 10.5 grams. So it's going to be like double the weight of some of its competitors for $550. And according to this, they just call the frame X-Craftic alloy. They mention nothing of magnesium. Now it could be magnesium, but if you look at the weight, it's 5.3 ounces. Now it's going to be coming in at a 6.8 and 8.3 to 1. And just like the SXSS, expected arrival is October 10. Now at this price, you're looking at almost $100 more than the proven king of bait finesse reels, the ALDEBARAN BFS. So I don't expect Abu Garcia to be moving too many of these Xenon MG LTX BFS reels, even though they do come with a nice carrying case. Alright, so let's go back and see what else. Now it looks like Daiwa is coming out with, I guess, a new set of Lexa swim bait reels. There's a 300 and a 400, and to be honest, I don't really remember what the old Lexas looked like, but I don't think they look too different than these new models. So now let's get to the big release by Daiwa, and that's the fact that they're coming out with the revamped TATULA 100. And I think this is the only picture on Tackle Warehouse of this reel, and you can see it looks almost exactly like the reel it's replacing, but they've sculpted the top frame and made it look a lot more aggressive. It's more pointy, and there's this little machined out section where you can rest your thumb, and it looks like they've gotten rid of the red trim pieces on the sides of the thumb bar, but the zero adjuster looks the same, knobs are the same, the nut retainer is the same, and really they're not really giving this reel anything new as far as performance technology. There's no boost spool or anything. They're just saying hyperdrive design, which the old one technically had that already, and they're going to be coming in at $179, which is the price of the old CURADO 200K. Now this is what they consider a 100 size Daiwa, but you can see the line capacity is pretty big. 120 yards of 14 pound and 100 yards of 16 pound test. It's going to come in the 6.3, 7.1 and 8.1 gear ratio. Expected at the end of October. So a pretty lazy effort from Daiwa. I'm not sure if these reels sold very much, but it looks like all they did was remachine the top of the frame, and that's about it. Alright, so taking a look at these other brands, Denali Novus. Isn't Denali like a rod maker? And taking a look at these reels, I mean, I see Chinese OEM all over the styling. Novus Elite, Novus Pro. I mean, nothing really special about these Denali reels, but I will say this: they're coming into the reel market with some really high prices. I mean, $159 for the standard Novus. The Novus Pro was $200, and the Novus Elite is $250, and they pretty much look like the exact same reel with just different paint. So I guess you have to be a real hardcore Denali fan to be buying one of these reels. Alright, let's get to LEWS. LEWS has come out with a new Hyper Mag that is sporting the same frame as that Pro and Elite TI reel that came out last year. Only difference is that it doesn't get the, I guess, shiny deposition coating. And you can see the top of the reel. It's a good looking reel. That spool looks pretty deep. And this is, yeah, magnesium frame with C40 carbon side plates. Yada yada yada, all the typical LEWS marketing. And yeah, for a magnesium reel, it's coming in at 5.2 ounces. So kind of heavy. And what kind of brake does this have? I'm pretty sure it's going to be their centrifugal brake system. And it's coming in at $339. So cheaper than a Bantam and cheaper than the ZILLION. And it's going to be lighter than both. Looks like they are expected in at the end of the month, July the 30th. So it's a good looking reel. I wouldn't mind if LEWS was to send me one of these to test out. But I don't think I'll be buying one for myself. Alright, so Flugger, did you know they still make baitcasters? And they have come out with a very budget Monarch casting reel that's like a green color, two-toned with black frame. And if you look, Flugger looks like they have really cut down their baitcaster line to only two now. The President XT, which is $99, and then this Monarch. And that's kind of sad because Flugger used to have a lot of baitcaster offerings, but I guess the competition is just too tough. And look at this crazy thing. Who's gonna buy this? I mean, it's a Chinese frame. Then look at the other reel they're offering. I mean, do these kind of reels really sell? Let me know if you actually purchased this reel, because it looks like it's been out for a while. The Proficiency Crazy casting reel, and then there's the Crazy 3. Coming in at $110. So if you have this crazy reel, let me know in the comments, or if you plan on getting the Crazy 3, let me know in the comments. Okay, and then here's an interesting looking reel. What is it called? 7 or Savine GF casting reels, 120 bucks. Looks like it's kind of got like a dark frame with, is this pink spool and trim pieces. Is this a graphite reel? Let me see here. Who makes 7? Like, this brand just came out of nowhere. One piece graphite frame and side covers, 5 bearing system, line indicator, 1-year warranty. So yeah, I figured this was graphite just by looking at this picture. I mean, it's not a bad looking reel, but at $120, I mean, it's a no-brainer. Pay an extra $9 and get the devastating Shimano SLX XT. So wow, just a ton of companies coming out with Baitcasters. I know there were more released, but it doesn't look like that Tackle Warehouse has them listed, because I don't see the 2 new KASTKING digital reels here. But yeah, there we go, guys. It looks like it's kind of been a bait finesse year when it came to Icast, because we're getting the ALDEBARAN, the Xenon, the REVO SS, and earlier we had the LEWS Pro SP SS BFS reel. But yeah, oh yeah, once again, the CURADO M. Did a separate video on that. And I actually did put a pre-order in for one of these CURADO M's. So in the next video, we're going to go over all the interesting casting rods, including a potential trout magnet BFS rod from KASTKING. So be on the lookout for that. All right, guys, thanks a lot.